Hello everybody and welcome to Berringer, and this is a kind of like a bit of a progress report on how I'm doing with the cunning plan. And this is it. The cunning plan is the going to be this disposable, sorry I should say not disposable, but I should say removable layout section. So when the bridge is folded, this can actually just be lifted straight off. So basically you get a more interesting view, and as you can see, this is as far as we've got as far as the progress is. I'm going to just let you know how I've been doing it, and literally this is just my scrap box of wood, and this is just scrap wood everywhere, as you can tell just by looking at it. It's just a mishmash of wood, and the plan is it's all going to come together. Now, as I said to you before, this section, the bridge section, is very bland to look at, which is why I'm intending to make it look more interesting. And so I'm kind of doing a bit of as you go along type of thing, how it's coming along. So this is how it starts. Firstly, I had some of these Pico sides, which I did buy originally for the station, but I found it was becoming too costly. But I had these left over, which is the first set I bought and the only set I bought. So I decided that I wanted to make good use of them since I have had them, and I'm going to create this disused platform area here. So this is all just going to be a platform which is going to be overgrown with bushes and whatnot all over it, and just to make it disused. Along the middle here there's going to be like a walk path, so for the walkers, and it's going to run alongside the railway line, so as if to sort of make it out like Beecham's come around and he's taken out and done his work and removed a part of the line that wasn't needed, so that kind of thing. And then that end leads to the TMD, and basically it's going to be a kind of like a box lift out section, and it's going to be the same along here. Now, as you can see, my microwave is still there, so the plan is to sort of seal this so you just get a general better overview. So this is as far as I've got with it so far. So this is a scrap bit of MDF. The sides are just some hardboard which I had left over, and there's a fine bit of wood MDF again. I think it's about, I don't know, 6mm down that end, and that's what we've got so far. And also the pencil, which is an essential tool for marking things out, as well as the Pico sides. Here is one of the tools that I'm using, one of the many tools I'm using, and just to go through them, I have my jigsaw, and that jigsaw is what was cutting the hardboard, because this table saw is a mini table saw and it won't do 6 inches across. It's good for slicing up like fine slivers and up to about 4 or 5 inches. I think it's 4 inches between here and the actual blade, which is there. So it's good for that kind of thing. So if you want to trim it, then it's great, and it gives you a perfect straight line. I did use this for a lot of the station area, and if I zoom out then you can see exactly what it is. And also we have the little mini sander which will be used to smooth everything out, so that'll be another tool that I'll be using also. So like I said, I'll keep you updated, and as I go along hopefully you'll see how a load of scrap turns out into a hopefully a decent piece of scenery. So bye for now. Okay, welcome back, and you're now looking at the next set of tools, which is my workmate workbox, which I've had for some time now, and it's acting as a vise for this section of wood. And this is my belt sander, and I'm using the belt sander to do what I've just done here, which is to create the platform edge. And basically I've ground down, I've used the Pico sides to mark the MDF, and then I've used the belt sander to grind it all down to the level of the platform and the Pico side. So that's what I've just done, and hopefully it'll all marry up quite nicely when I put it up. It doesn't matter if it's slightly over, because like I said, it's going to be overgrown with bushes and things like that, so it's not 100% perfect, I don't think, but we might just have to grind it down a little bit more just to make sure it's good. And then once we're happy with it, we'll put it on the layout and we'll show you from there. As you can see, the MDF platform has been put back, and As you can see, it's sort of down to the right length. It's only about a 2-car length, I think, or just over. As you can see, it's just sort of all married up down there, along there. Like I said, it isn't fixed or anything, it's just trying to get the lengths right and the levels right. This is the same method I used over at the station end to get the ramps. I used the Pico size as a guide and did a pencil mark along the side to get the accurate ramp lengths on the station. So that's what I used, because originally I was going to use this over in the station, but now I'm going to use it on this part of this disused line. So that's the next bit that I've done, and then I'm going to have to start creating the box for it, which is going to be probably creating some pieces along the top to brace it, so it can be lifted out without it sort of being compromised. And I think it's going to work quite well, actually. I'm looking forward to getting it all done, because literally, hopefully it should just be a relatively simple box, and hopefully a fairly cost-effective one, and it will also create a good effect also. So I will let you know how I progress. Okay, just to give you a rough idea of where we're at, the boards, as in the scenic boards, which are just along the back here and along the side there, they've been completely sanded down. I've now got my jigsaw out, and I've created this sort of archway, and I've cut the disused platform into the arch, and basically along here is going to be our footpath for the walkers, so they can come along here. So what we're trying to do on this little scenic bit is keep the scenery to a minimum, but keep it effective. So we've got this disused platform on the side here, which is going to be overgrown. We're going to have a little path here for the walkers and the cyclists, which will then go into the archway, and then there's going to be some fencing all the way along the railway line, all the way along here, and obviously that archway creates a little bit of depth, and so that could be like a little railway bridge or whatever like that, just to give it, or a road bridge going above it, and just to give it that little bit of depth. So that's where we're at the moment. Hopefully by tonight we'll have it sort of painted up and looking a bit more kind of so you get a rough idea of what I'm actually trying to achieve. Also, I'm going to brace it across the top to obviously give it the rigidity, and literally it will either be placed on top of the bridge, or I'll have some dowel sections underneath it, and then that will just make sure that it kind of secures it into the bridge itself. Okay everybody, right, I've now managed to secure everything now. So this is basically the whole, if I raise the camera you can see exactly what I've done. I've literally braced it on the top to give it the rigidity along the top. There's one here where there's a join with the back seam, because I didn't quite have enough length. But there's also along here where the arch is, along the back there, it's also braced, and it's also braced on the side. So from this end it's rigid as well. And if you go along here, it's also braced on the top here to give it that rigidity. So I can sort of, it's basically, if I zoom right out on it, you can see it's just basically, it's a removable box section. And that's how it is. And if I just look down there, you can sort of see what we're doing. And basically this section is just removable, so it could just be plonked. I was actually going to put some doweling, maybe underneath the platform and underneath these bits here, just so it could slot into the bridge. But because it's so rigid, more rigid than I expected, I think I could just put it straight onto the top, and it's not really going to move anywhere or go anywhere because it's held in place and screwed in. So as you can see, just before I paint it, exactly what it looks like, and it's just, all it is literally my scrap box of wood, and I'm just sort of trying to make the most of what I have and trying to get that making looking half decent, and hopefully by the end of it I've got a nice little removable section and then my cunning plan will be in fruition, as they say, once it's all done and dusted. So I'll show you on the layout so you can have a look before I shut down and then carry on, and then I'll be back with more. Okay, so you can see now, see it in place. As you can see the fiddle yard, but you can't see the microwave anymore, you can't see the kitchen, and it makes it more interesting for filming as well. If I turn it around, you can see what I've done. You see the disused platform on the side here. I mean, I haven't put the Pico sides yet, attached them properly, but you can see that what I'm getting at. And hopefully, once it's painted, I'll do another little section, another little video to show you where I'm at, and then you can actually start making out where everything is in terms of where the sky is and everything like that, and where I'm going to put the walls and things like that. So hopefully it will start to come to life once I've started painting it. So that'll be my next little job. As you can see, the next section has been done, which is the painting section. So if I give you an overall section of it, overall view of it, lengthways, you can see literally that it's all been painted up in blue, and I will give you the colour for those of you who are interested in it. And it's a Dulux colour tester, and it's Azure Sky 6, and I've now literally just painted it all up. So that's the first section bit done. Next section I'm going to do is work on the outsides. So this is the outside now, and this is just plain hardboard, and you can see it's all a bit of a mishmash. Now what I have done is I've used my drill to countersunk all the holes, so all these screws are now flush and flat. And then I'm going to be painting this in our usual brown, which if I take you to the TMD, it's going to be this brown here. So basically, so it looks nice and finished. And the colour for the brown is going to be Dulux again, tester, and it's the Rich Havana 1. So that's the brown I'm going to be using to do the outside. So once that gets done, I'm thinking of getting the back seam for this, and the back seam will probably be in N gauge like this one, because this is an N gauge back seam, where the one on the station is a 00 gauge, and it gives a bit more depth, and also because it's slightly narrower. And I've purposely made the height between the bottom and the top to accommodate the back seam, so it should fit in there nicely. So that's going to be one of the things that I'm looking at doing. I've also got some mounting card, and that to be put on there, and there's going to be plastic cards along here. This side here we're going to have a retaining wall all the way along, all the way down, and there's probably going to be a slight embankment type of thing that's just going to slope down, and then we're going to use some scatter with another back seam there. So it's trying to keep it as simple as possible. So if you stay with me, I will do some more painting, and I will show you when it's all done. So bye for now.